Well, it was another day of gore in terms of photos and the explanations, Drew. You had the medical examiner on for most of the day, and the jury and Travis Alexander's family had to sit through a lot of the same photos they saw the first day, but this time they got explanations with it from the medical examiner, looking at different cuts, looking at the stab wounds, and the focus of this, Juan Martinez wants this jury to understand how much Travis Alexander suffered during this horrific murder.
Now, I remember the first time they went through this exercise in the original trial, the family was sobbing the whole time. How did they react this time, particularly with that emphasis on poor Travis's suffering?
Well, there were a lot of Kleenexes being passed around today. Most of the time they would look down so that they didn't see the photos, but they came up so quickly and sometimes without notice that they were forced to see some of them. And they heard everything. So there was a lot of crying again today. And again, the jury took notice of the pain that the family is going through, having to relive what happened to Travis.
And how about Jodi? What was her behavior like?
Looked away, never looked at any of the photos, was engaged more today. I thought yesterday she was really off by herself. Today she was more engaged with her attorneys, talking with Jennifer Wilmot and Kirk Nurmi many times, especially during breaks, dressed all in black, staying to the side, though this is the point of the trial where the defense is really just letting it happen because there's nothing they can really do or say to combat these horrific images.
And does she do that thing again where when the jury came in and out of the room, she stands and stares at each and every one of them and is sort of weirdly provocative with them?
Well, everybody has to stand when they come and go. I thought last time around she was trying to make eye contact more than this time around. She doesn't seem to be as engaged with that, not as interested in it, but she's standing there with everybody else. Jurors are not looking at her, though.
All right, Ted, hang on for a second. I'm going to bring my panel in. Vanessa Barnett from HipHollywood.com, Leanne Tweeden, social commentator, host of Tomboy's podcast on Blog Talk Radio, Allison Bedell, private investigator, co-host Catch a Contractor on Spike. All right, Sam, did I see that you wanted to ask Ted something?
Yeah, Ted, can I ask you about her physical demeanor in the sense that yesterday she had her chair lower than everybody else to appear meek and fragile to the jury? Did you notice that today as well?
Yeah, and I think it's probably a conscious decision. And part of the opening statements that Kirk Nurmi said was this is a young girl, and a mentally ill young girl. It's going to be up to you, jurors, to decide the fate of this mentally ill young girl. They're really trying to make her look and feel young to this jury, and hoping that these jurors will think twice about taking her life because it's a young life.
So I get it now how they're doing it. Vanessa, you're sort of new to this trial, at least with us talking about it. And so what they're kind of going after this time, the way Ted's painting this picture, I think he's probably right, is that this poor, disturbed child, we didn't realize she was so ill, and her illness finally burst forth in this horrific way. How can we possibly kill somebody who is so sick?
Look, that isn't gonna fly. I don't believe it will fly. No one's believing that this young, meek girl is that, because she, at the end of the day, nearly decapitated this man, stabbed him dozens of times, shot him in the face, and dragged him around the house. And on top of that, when you hear those sex tape recordings, when you hear about the kinky, nasty stuff they were involved in, no one's looking at her like, oh, meek little fragile. She wanted it anyway, in any orifice that she could get.
Allison, your reaction to that strategy they're getting into. Not Vanessa's strategy, the strategy that the defense team was taking.
It's just the fact that she said
I'm just sorry we didn't have Vanessa here the first time around. That's all.
No, I don't think that no matter how she sits, no matter how she looks, the evidence is going to speak for itself. I mean, she has a history of mental illness, and that's a given, being crazy in the way she was acting and with the stalkerish behavior. But the fact that she went so far as to stab him so many times and shoot him in the face, the pictures, anybody looking at that and then looking at her, I don't think it matters what she looks like when they look at her, because they've got those pictures still in their mind. I can't say I've seen any pictures like that recently. I would imagine that it's shocking enough to see such a bloody crime scene.
Yeah. Well,
that to see that would be what's
stuck
in their mind.
But then again, the last jury couldn't commit her to the death penalty. And then this afternoon, speaking of the jury, juror number 9 was dismissed. We already have one juror out because, get this, Leanne, she approached a journalist. She approached Beth Karras, our buddy, and she asked Beth, are you Nancy Grace? And then this one was dismissed. So, Leanne, we're already down one juror in 2 days. You think we're going to make it through this?
I hope so. I hope they have plenty of extra jurors there to make up for that at the end, if this continues to happen. But let's face it, Dr. Drew, I started watching On Call because I was a fan of this show before I started coming on. And it was during the Jodi Arias trial that I would watch your show every single night. This woman is bat crazy, put in the expletive there that I left out. But what's so intriguing about her is that you can't turn away from her. You know she's crazy. You know she's insane and followed him around and jealous. I mean, really, all I can think about when I think of Jodi Arias is a bunny boiling in a pot somewhere on her stove.
Well, that's
because
what this
she's so jealous. Right,
yeah.
but I mean, people are fascinated by her and people can't get enough of this. And I just hope the jury can see through the craziness that this woman brutally murdered somebody. She's not this meek little, oh, let me put my seat down, I'm frail, I wear my little glasses. We're not buying any of that. And if they put her away for life, so be it. But if they kill her too, I don't have a problem with that as well.
And Sam, but Samantha, that's the point. I mean, she is this is the real life version of Fatal Attraction. I mean, that's what this is. But it's interesting to me how differently still men and women react to this woman. And maybe it's how somebody who becomes a fatal attraction does their thing. They're disposed to having males and females react differently to them.
No, absolutely. I think the thing is, the question of the night is, why are men attracted to her and why are women fascinated by her? Leanne hit the nail on the head. I see it all over social media. And Dr. Drew, going on about, borderline personality disorder and all that, regardless, she premeditated this to the finest degree.
Right.
She drove to Arizona dyeing her hair. She rented that car that wasn't red to remain undetected. She bought those gas cans with cash so she didn't have a paper trail. And then let's not forget that then she disposed of the evidence with that camera in the washing machine. So I don't understand how even bringing up a mental illness defense is even going to help her here.
Right, because she knew what she was doing as she was carrying this all out. There was an impulsive quality to it.
Right.
She did have borderline disorder, but as we discussed last time we covered this case, people with borderline disorder are upset that anybody would contemplate that she somehow, Jodi, represents people with this condition. It's almost like if she were also diabetic and we all went, well, diabetics sometimes their sugar can get low and they don't think right. That's not fair to diabetics. It's not fair to anybody.